Hi, I'm Dr. Simone Webber from Tomorrow's Forest, and we are here down at the lake to give you an update on what's been happening over the past few months, and also talk about future projects and the challenges we faced over the last couple of years. I'm here with Nick, and Nick's going to first of all tell us, Nick, what's happening down on the lake, how you've been preparing for winter down here.
Yeah, so winter we have trimmed all the marginal aquatics back. We planted them all around the lake, and then come the end of summer we've trimmed them right down to water level, and then hopefully that really encourages their growth for next year and it'll thicken out the marginals. We've had several problems with the marginals, really.
Yeah, so tell us about the problems with the marginals sort of from the beginning of the project onwards, because I think it's quite a long running.
Yeah, so obviously we took the lake first. The following spring we planted it out completely and we went guns blazing on it, so I think we put about 4,000 marginal plants around the lake and all the trees around the lakeside. And then it went into 65 days of drought. So,
wow.
Yeah, we lost about 95% of all species we planted, which was industry-wise, obviously with our tree planting business, you know, it was similar losses all over the country. It was a hard spring, long drought. It finished off pretty much everything. So that was a big kick in the butt, really. And then that kind of we got a little scared the following planting season. So I didn't really want to invest another, I think it cost like 8 grand, 9 grand originally on plants and aquatics. And I was like, well, do I kind of put 8, 9 grand back into it? And then the same happened again. So this year we planted small little sections of aquatics around the lake because I was kind of scared of the weather. And you know, sod's law, it was an amazing grow season. Yeah. And we could have gone like flat out, you know, so it's just one of those things really. So now we have clumps of different aquatic marginal species around the lake, and then next spring we'll probably start dividing some of those clumps and filling out more areas. So what kind of species have you got in there? You mentioned bulrush to me. What other ones have you got? Yeah, we've got bulrush, yellow flag iris, we've got the juncus species around there.
So that's rushes, isn't it? Sedge,
yeah, rushes and sedges. Purple loosestrife, aquatic mint, Carex riparia.
Carex riparia, I'm trying to remember what that one is.
Yeah, it's that little green, little bushy one, the lovely little bushy one on the back there. But yeah, that should all, I mean, it's one of those things really. Do we plough 6 grand into it again and do it all in one go? Yeah. But then the weather comes in spring and they all die, or do we just slowly kind of build them back up? Hey everyone, if you're enjoying our journey in creating this beautiful lake, please don't forget to hit the like button. Your support really does help our channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. We've got loads of exciting content coming up, including our tree planting adventures up and down the country, and we're currently running several biodiversity projects. Remember, every like, comment and share helps us bring awareness to these vital environmental initiatives. Thanks for being part of the community, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
And what's the purpose of the aquatic marginals? I think we've said before in the videos, it stabilises the bank of the lake, doesn't it, and provides sort of extra cover for sort of small mammals like watervoles and birds. Are there any other advantages? Does it do anything sort of oxygenation-wise to the lake? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really important part of the nitrogen cycle, so we need to make sure that they're there contributing to that cycle. Oxygenating the water too, habitat, it provides amazing habitat for everything. But I think in planning the lake, we've kind of got the different species in different areas. Yeah. So on the dam wall, I really want to solidify that, like you said, and provide structure to that dam wall. So we put the more aggressive species in there. Bulrush, we've put Typha in there, which, you know, some people might blow their minds about it spreading, but the dam wall's so deep, it goes down to 18 feet quite quickly, and they'll migrate down to maybe 5-6 feet. That's how aggressive they are. That's probably why you don't want to put them in the shallow ponds. They'll just race across it. But yeah, we put the aggressive species on the dam wall, and then more of the relaxed species in the shallower areas, like the purple loosestrife, the yellow flag, the Juncus rush, stuff like that. Probably will need management because they will spread by seed. That's something that we're willing to manage as the project goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've said on, I don't know if we said on the videos, we've already seen watervoles on the lake, haven't we? And you said they're mainly on the island at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you planted aquatic marginals on the island?
Yeah. Again, we saw the same kind of losses on the island originally. So we're back again to kind of trying to bring it back, but we have a really nice shallow shelf on the backside of the island. I think we've got yellow flag and burrweed on there. So that should come out and create a quite, 4 or 5 feet deep reed bed right next to the island.
Oh, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, for habitat it's going to be great.
And we've already seen, so there's mallards on the lake today and a swan, and we've seen widgeon as well, which is the first time we've seen widgeon on the lake. So they're grazing birds, so that all this sort of, the grass around the outside will be useful for them. This was the area that we sowed with wildflower seeds, wasn't it? All the grass area around the outside. And you cut that at the end of the summer, did you, sort of prepare for the winter as well? Yeah,
same as the aquatic marginals. I think in early October I went and cut everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully again that does kind of bump up the rates next year.
Yeah, it reduces the fertility as well, doesn't it?
Sure.
We're still battling with after sort of being agricultural land, which is always an ongoing problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think looking at it now, we're going to do more specific management in smaller sections.
Yeah.
Like I think this spring we'll clear some sections of the Aggie grass and really get rid of its kind of seed bank, and then put more specific wildflowers so we get patches of purple loosestrife, aquatic mint, and we get more blocks around the lake.
Yeah. And how are the trees doing? Have they have you had challenges with the trees over the last couple of years as well?
Yeah, again, same issue that summer, big losses on the trees. We put little 40 centimetre, 60 centimetre trees in originally. Saw like 90% of them get wiped out in the drought. Yeah. Kind of got impatient and then went out and bought the standards, which you'll see as we walk around here. Yeah. And blasted those in around the lake just so we had some immediate coverage. And we're currently just always kind of beating it up at any failed trees every year. We go back in the winter. Right now, actually, we'll see Liz in a minute planting around the lake, but yeah, we'll replace any dead trees and keep it stocked up.
And a deer problem. I think we've seen some deer damage walking around, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a biodiversity project, so we do want to encourage all life to the lake, but the volume of deer is becoming an issue. Yeah. Especially for the smaller trees which are coming out the tubes. As soon as the tree pops out the tube, the deers are just mowing it straight away. So it's not like we can trico it like we did originally. Yeah. Because unless we happen to catch the first leader coming out of the tube, quickly trico it, but by the time they pop out, the deer have had it every day. Yeah. So it's a management issue. We're not quite sure how we're going to resolve that in the short term, but long term we do need to figure out a plan to kind of get everything away, whether that is excluding the deer for a few years just while we establish before we reopen it back up. We're not quite 100% on that yet.
Hi Liz, you're here doing a beat up of the trees around the lake. Do you want to just tell us how many sort of trees you're going to be replacing, what you're finding with the trees that are here?
Yeah, so I've gone around all of the planting stations and I've removed the grass out of all the tubes from the trees that were still alive, and then I've also removed the tubes for the trees which I'm about to replace, so all around the site. There's very little mortality, which is nice to see. So this year's our third year of planting, so the original planting year, and then last year we did a beat up, and then this year we're doing another one. So I'm finding over all the trees that we've planted everywhere, probably about 5% which is dead, which is good. What I've noticed is the pockets where we've had a lot of rain recently and where the water's risen, then the tree's in a puddle, so I think it didn't have a lot of chance to make it, but generally the trees are looking pretty good. A lot of the trees which have kind of which we planted the original year, I've now fully gone out the tube, and I've put on a lot of girths on the stem, so yeah, it's looking pretty promising.
It's interesting to know that the water levels have affected the mortality of the trees. So how many trees do you think you'll be planting today then?
I've got 150, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the dead one first, and then I'm going to bulk up the density in some of the compartments that we've created, and probably start planting more of the shrub species on the lakeside. So we've got a multi-level with shrubs, bigger trees, and then some of the native trees that we've got already in the ground.
So you're going to show us how you plant a tree and indeed.
Yes, yeah, I'll do all that. I've got some stakes and tubes, and my bags are over there, so we'll grab everything we need and get going.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
So we're around opposite the dam wall, aren't we, on the other side of the island. This is the patch of rush we were talking about, which is like really 2 years worth of growth. Looks amazing. So the whole lake should have been sort of originally surrounded by that, was the plan, wasn't it?
Yeah, really disappointing really, but I mean, the good old juncus, you know, hardy as ever. It was the only species to survive the original drought. But that gives us a little bit of hope, because we're now, all the other species are going to enter their second year this summer. So we're hoping this summer it all kind of looks similar to this.
Yeah.
It's a little section we planted originally. We're going to kind of bring this up this embankment a little bit. So it's going to be about 5 meters deep by about 10 meters long. Eventually as a nice solid section of juncus, which I'm sure you'll tell me what's going to benefit from that.
It's good sort of hiding habitat for mammals and amphibians and stuff to sort of like shelter and hang out in. And then over there I think is one of your other new project patches, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to do a bit more.
Yeah, we've got the first peg really, peg or hide or whatever we want to call it. There's steps going down to it, so that's currently getting worked on. We're also going to build a tool shed up in the top of the field here. The access is so bad to the site, it's so wet that I can't get any of the tools down to do the winter work. So netting, feed, pumps, all the stuff that we need to kind of maintain it and make sure it's managed habitat. We have to lump in from the very top, so we're going to stop doing that. We're going to put a little log cabin shed up there, which we'll film the building of it. It's going to be quite cool actually. It'll be a fun little project this summer.
Yeah. So that's great. So there'll be having a hide here will be fantastic, because you'll be able to sort of sneak down and sort of watch the birds up close, which would be really good, won't it? And yeah, as I said, you know, we'll keep monitoring the species that are coming and visiting the lake and giving updates, and hopefully have some good news in terms of different bird species coming in next year. So Nick, this is the shallow bay area of the lake, isn't it? That we know is going to be good for amphibians. I think you said fish spawning as well. Birds will use the muddy bits around the outside. Birds like sort of common sandpipers, green shank, hopefully if we're lucky. This bit, I know we've got some trees planted along the edge. Do you just want to tell us about sort of what the trees are, what sort of trees we've got here, what they're going to do? And
yeah, they're more native shrubs here. So we've got spindle on this little corner. It'll form a big spindle bush eventually there, and Yeah, there's leaf drop issues to think about, but we're not going to stock the lake completely surrounded by trees. The trees are set back from the lake for the most part, and it does create a lovely little habitat right on the side of the lake here. She said the shallow area in this bay here, the fish have been getting in it every year to spawn right now, and you can really tell when they're in it because it goes from crystal clear to chocolate milk within a couple of days, and you know that spawning season's begun.
What time of year is that?
The last couple of years it's been June,
Okay.
June-ish. The first year they did 3 times.
Oh my goodness.
Which, you know, posed lots of problems for us, which I guess we can touch on later on.
Yep.
But yeah, they went at it 3 times the first year, and then this summer they went at it twice. But it gets pretty hectic in this bay in the summer. There's fish thrashing about, and there's so much activity in it that even though the lake is very weedy, you would presume that the shallow area is completely chocker with weed, but it remained clear of weed all year.
Okay, so
I think
that's
that's due to the volume of fish which are in here, stirring all the bottom up and keeping the sediment level higher in the shallow bay here.
Yeah, and I know fish are quite contentious, aren't they? Because they can sort of compete with amphibians, but you know, amphibians tend to reproduce earlier in the year, so you know, hopefully they'd have so things like newts will be out of the ponds, you know, by the summer because they go off and sort of go off into the undergrowth.
So just to touch on the fish being a contentious issue, so we're trying to build a full ecosystem, and although we can kind of prioritise certain species, to prioritise certain species we'd have to cut out a lot of others, so we're going to take the ups and downs with a balanced ecosystem, really.
So yeah, that's a good summary of the shallow area and how it's going to develop and how it's being managed at the moment, and we'll move around now and have a look at the down wall and the much deeper area of the lake and discuss that.
Let's go.
Okay. Now we're here on the down wall, which was one of the big features of the excavation of the lake, wasn't it? This was where all the sort of the excess soil came and was built up. This bank is, we can just see the bulrush in the background there. This bank is where you've got the taller, more aggressive aquatic marginal plants, you said. So
yeah, hopefully it's been a slow start. It's been pretty frustrating with what we've talked about with the weather, but it's all looking quite thick already right now in these sections. So by next summer, I think this will be fully established reed bed, which will be great to see. Obviously, you're the bird expert, and you can tell us all about why that will be important for the birds. But
so is it just bulrush there, or is it other types of reed as well?
No, we've got other types of weed. It kind of blocks up. We've got blocks of bulrush, we've got blocks of typha, flag iris mix in there, burrweed. So we've got a mix in here.
Yeah, so what that'll do is, I mean, bulrush is great for seeds as well. They have those fluffy seeds on the top, don't they, which birds love. So yeah, it'll be a sort of food resource. It's shelter. So the kind of birds we'd expect to see on a lake like this are things like snipe, if you're very lucky. If you've got shallower areas where they can sort of like, you know, wander in and out and dig out into the mud, they'll come and visit. As we said, we've already seen quite a few duck species. We've had teal, mallards, you know, obviously as soon as you put water in, there's mallards. But we've also had the widgeon now as well, which is quite exciting. And you've seen greaves, egrets, So as time goes on, we should see sort of more and more water birds. You know, they need, a lot of them need this, like you said, the moorhens, they need this kind of like cover along the outside of the lake to give them that protection.
Yeah, we do have a breeding pair of moorhens which had a successful hatch this year. They did it on the island, so we keep seeing them kind of fluttering about. They were really cute. They were tiny little moorhen, fluffy things swimming about for a bit.
Black pink ones, aren't they? And one of the other things we noticed earlier in the year was the number of damselflies and dragonflies around the lake was just crazy, wasn't it? It was like common blue damselflies. It was so many damselflies. They were sort of perched everywhere. And again, that's why the aquatic marginals are so important, because they allow them to sort of, once the nips come out and sort of need to dry off and emerge, they need the vegetation for that. Right, Right, we're around the back of the lake now. This is the island just in front of us here.
Yeah.
So the island, I know you said earlier there were moorhens nesting on there, so it's a great little reserve, a little area for birds. How do you manage that going forward? You're going to have to sort of row out there and do any management.
I think you've seen the boat footage from the last video, which we bought on the Thames. And we bought it from a house on an island on the Thames, and then what we had to pick up was a couple of miles downstream, so I got the pleasure of rowing it down
all the
the
way
Thames, to which
Nice.
Liz gave me lots of grief. But yeah, we got the boat to manage all the stuff. It's really handy for planting and sorting it out, and I went on there this year and gave it a cut.
Yeah.
The trees actually did really well on the island. They did originally survive the drought for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. And the deer can't get to them, obviously.
Yeah, the deer, they're protected from the deer, so they're doing better. So, yeah, it's the island, and this is what we named, obviously, Oyster Bay.
Oh, this is where you found the fossilised oysters?
This is where we found the fossilised oysters, yeah, so it's one of my favourite sections of the lake.
Is it still really deep here, this way? Oh, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's a really deep channel in the middle of it, which runs round, because we needed to steal some extra clay to build the dam wall up, so it shouldn't have been this deep on paper. But because we needed extra clay for the dam wall, we had to put a big channel around it. So it's a nice little feature. It shelves down, deep channel, and then shelves up 3 or 4 times to the island.
Yeah. So that reminds me, actually, there was a problem with the dam wall, wasn't it? You had a leak.
Yes.
Yeah, which was one of the big major problems we had with it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of that footage. Mostly because it was emergency stations when it was happening, and yeah. But yeah, we had a leak. I think it's always going to be a bit of an issue with clay dam walls. It was compounded by the drought.
Yeah.
All the clay cracked open on the dam wall. It hadn't filled up yet.
Yeah.
And then we put too much clay down at once in that one section towards the end. So we had a leak. We got diggers in and we excavated a trench in the middle of the dam wall. Once we got down about 4 feet, we found a nice little hosepipe size flow of water going through the middle of the dam wall. So we compacted that again, put a new key trench in the middle of the dam wall in that section, and then built it back up, and that stopped it.
And as we can see now, it's holding now, isn't it? We did get asked the other day, actually. There's no liner in this lake at all, is it? It's just the clay is the what's keeping the water in.
Yeah. I think we had a couple of issues really. If we had the access to the site is quite narrow up at the top of the field. If the access was bigger, we could have got a bulldozer in.
Yeah.
If we had a bulldozer, the dam would have been a lot more secure. We could have just built up a nice berm and packed it down.
Yeah.
But because we couldn't get a bulldozer in, we had to do it with excavators. And doing it with excavators, bucket at a time, and trying to compact down, it's just not as good as steel as what we could have done if we could get the right equipment in. But yeah, we had a leak, we fixed it, thank God.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's pretty full now. I mean, obviously we've had so much rain recently that... Is this about as full as it gets? It doesn't come up much more than that, does it? Because you've got the overflow. Yeah,
I've got the overflow. I have artificially lowered it by about 2 feet at the moment for a few years, just to try and get these banks established with the aquatic marginals. Once I'm happy with the establishment and they're good and secure and it's really full of plants, I'll probably raise it up another feet.
Yeah. Thanks very much for your time, Nick. It's absolutely freezing. I can't wait to get a cup of tea. And that's it for our lake update this time.
Thank you.
For more information about our projects and to get involved, head over to www.creatingtomorrowsforest.co.uk. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel.